hell of a win, man. And listen, as a coach, man, you always look for a win like this early in the year when you're trying to bring a team together, man. You guys just showed me what's in here. You really did. This is a football team right here. It is early in the season, but you never stopped playing, right? New faces in this locker room, you never stopped playing. You kept playing for one another.
Paper's sweet. You got to play this for 60 minutes, man. All right, there's no quitting this team.
No.
Love y'all, boys.
Resilient, tough, that is Buffalo to a core, baby. How about those Buffalo Bills? Right here, baby! Right here! 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3!
Hey everybody, and welcome into week 2 of the Sean McDermott Show presented by Kaleida Health. John, thanks for giving us a couple minutes. Fantastic game on Sunday night against the Ravens. A game for the ages. You got down to a point where you were less than 1% to win that game, and yet, what's a comeback like that say about your teams? Not only their resilience, like you said in your postgame, but also their resolve.
Yeah. Is there a difference between resilience and resolve?
I think so.
Well, I think so. Yeah. But the thing I loved about it is they never quit, right? Whether that's resolve or resilience, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Resilience is coming back. Resolve is the desire to go on.
They never quit.
Yeah.
Right? So
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, basically. And I think that's a good sign early. You always want to win a close game early, whether it's game 1, 2, whatever it is. It's a good bonding mechanism for your team.
It was evident. I mean, they didn't stop playing. They never stopped playing. They just never, you never got any body language, bad body language. You never got any of that stuff. Josh didn't flinch. He's 33 of 46, almost 400 yards passing, delivered 2 touchdown drives, some amazing throws along the way, drove the field for the game-winning field goal. And in the end, he was talking about his teammates and stuff. Talk about Josh's leadership in games like this and how it sets the table for what's to come.
Yeah, invaluable, the it factor. He's cool and calm and collected in those moments, and he leads by example first and foremost. When the ball is in his hands, he does some magic with it, and yet at the same time, he's able to slow the game down enough to understand the situation that we were getting into on the latter part of that drive, and he executes extremely well in those situations.
So once again, with Josh at the helm, you got a bunch of guys contributing. Keon Coleman, 8 for 112, and a touchdown. James Cook, a 51-yard catch and run. It looked like he was going to get in for just a hot minute. Dalton Kincaid returned to his, early in his career form, seems healthy and energetic. Jackson Hawes shows up at the most critical time. Hey, congratulations, welcome to the NFL. Here's your first catch right when we need it to win the game. Josh Palmer makes a great splash debut in his first game. How can this offense build off of that when you've got so many guys contributing? What's the key to keeping that going, even though you've got a guy like Keon who kind of emerged as a centerpiece?
Well, I think just keeping everybody embracing the roles that they're in and improving, right? It's game 1, and it's only game 1. I'm certainly happy we won the game, but there's a lot of things that led to that we've got to continue to work on and grow with and then remaining unselfish in one's approach. I think that's important as well.
Early on, defensively, you stopped some drives. You helped them turn touchdowns into field goals. Ravens have got a wagon for an offense. I mean, we knew it going in, right? That was going to be one of the challenges. And your defense rallied to perform a 3-and-out right when you needed to set up Josh to get the ball back. They have to work on some things, no question about it. And how was their resiliency tested and shown up on a game like that with man, oh man?
Yeah,
what a challenge.
It could discourage you, and it was discouraging and frustrating, I know, for a lot of us. You're trying to crack the code, right? And some of it was self-inflicted. We're not where we're supposed to be in our gap. Don't make the tackle. And so those are things we've worked on, and we've got to continue to work on them. Got some young guys up there as well, and I'm excited to see where the defense and how the defense grows from week 1 to week 2 and beyond, and can help complement the offense on a little bit more consistent basis. That said, Steve, as you said, 3 stops at the end of the game there were critical. If we don't get one of those stops even, probably not pulling that game out. So I tip my cap to them, and I think there's some momentum at least moving forward.
All right, last thing, we got to talk about Matt Prater. He took a red eye to get here on Thursday, and he was 3 for 3 on his field goals, which is all you can ask, right? He embraced the new teammates. He jumped in. You knew getting a veteran like him. I mean, there's not too many guys more veteran than a 41-year-old, right? So how does Prater coming in, immediately join the team, speak to you about your culture? I mean, he was a part of this, and he could sense it when he got in. And there are times to kind of explain why culture is important for a guy like that in a crucial game like that. Even though it's opening day, your culture makes that possible.
Yeah, when you have a veteran who's as accomplished as Matt is, done as many great things as he has in this league, they're only going to teams that they feel have that type of culture like we do. And so I think that's a big compliment. That said, having him here, you can get a feel that he fits in terms of how he handles his business, how much pride he takes in doing his job and doing it extremely well. And he just gives off a certain confident vibe in the way he handles himself. And that was evident last Friday when he got on the field with us.
All right, good stuff, Coach. We'll catch up with you later in the show to get your final thoughts on what it's going to take to beat the Jets in the Meadowlands. Thanks for joining us. And for you at home, stay with us. We'll be right back on the Sean McDermott Show.
Game Plan is presented by Energy Mart, official energy supplier of the Buffalo Bills.
When we come back, Eric Wood stops by and gives an in-depth breakdown of what he saw on Sunday night. And later on, newcomer wide receiver Josh Palmer is mic'd up for his first game as a Buffalo Bill. Welcome back to the Sean McDermott Show. I'm pleased to be joined now by our good friend Eric Wood, who's the radio analyst who was in the booth for the game on Sunday night against the Ravens. Eric, thanks for joining us. And I got to ask you right out of the box, what are some of the big takeaways, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, that you saw from the Bills?
Yeah, there was times where there was a little bit of slowness to them. They got to eliminate the 3 and outs. And that was an issue at times last year where you have a defense that gives up a long drive, you go 3 and out, and that really strings out your defense. But for the most part last night, this offense was great. You know, all 3 running backs flashed at times. The offensive line looked good. Those 3 tight ends all contributed to the game plan, and then each of the receivers contributed in one way or the other, where there was more focus on blocking with maybe Shavers or the guys that made a bunch of plays down the field like a Keon Coleman.
Yeah, and we saw this as well. 10 guys had targets in this game last night. 9 of them made a catch. Only Ty Johnson had 2 targets and didn't have any receptions. This is a game, once again, where we see everybody eats, and Josh's willingness. Jackson Hawes comes out of nowhere to have a 29-yarder that was at a crucial moment of the game. Who cares? Here's your first NFL catch. That says a lot about where Josh's confidence is.
It is. And, you know, towards the end of the game, pressure's on, you know the blitz is coming. He goes to Keon. So is that his go-to guy? We'll see. It might be a matchup thing week to week. Jair Alexander was struggling in that game, and that might be why he went to Keon in that moment. But, you know, you say Ty Johnson went without a catch. I mean, he caught a swing pass behind the line that went as a run that probably should have been a pass play that would have gotten Josh over 400 yards. But no big deal there. Josh isn't going to care that it wasn't over 400 yards. But I think this is going to be a similar situation to last year where you attack your matchups, and each and every week it could be a different guy stepping up.
There are a lot more things to talk about on the defensive side. They gave up a bunch of explosive runs. Certainly Derrick Henry, you knew he was going to be the centerpiece of their offense, but he's not that big a centerpiece when Lamar Jackson's back there as well. What'd you see on the defensive side?
Yeah, this defense struggled to keep their gap integrity. They gave up big plays. There was bad angles from the secondary at times. Now, there were times where there was great individual efforts, you know, especially Ed Oliver up front. It's such an encouraging sign to see him play like that in the first game of the season. He was a man possessed out there at times, and it was a welcoming sight to see that in the first game of the season. And then there was other good individual efforts. I thought Bosa flashed at times, Rousseau flashed at times. Both the linebackers, you know, Benford, Johnson. There was great individual efforts at times. Just as a whole, I just felt like they weren't sharp. And some of that could be 3 out of the 4 of your secondary right now. 2 safeties that didn't get a whole lot of work in the preseason, and a rookie playing on the back end of the defense. You're relying on 2 rookies at defensive tackle to play meaningful snaps. Bosa's first regular season game playing in this scheme. So is there rust coming out of the preseason with this defense? Yes. Do I think it's unfixable? No.
Eric, thanks for this. Really appreciate it. We're going to catch you next week after the Jet game. We'll talk to you then.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it, Steve.
Still to come on the Sean McDermott Show, Josh Palmer is mic'd up for his first game as a Buffalo Bill. Then Sportsology takes a look at some next-gen stats.
Hey, gotta love this shit, man. Get to go out there and play some football, man. Have some fun, play for each other, pick each other up off the ground, celebrate with each other, huh? One job. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3!
Ah! Be Josh Palmer. That's all I need, baby. Love you, man. Joshy! Ah! Love you, baby. All right, let's get it. Damn, good block. Yeah, I got hit so hard. Hey, make a play. Heads up play.
We're gonna get this ball back. We're gonna make this play, all right?
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Hey! Let's go! What's up? What's up? Hey, let's go, baby. Let's go. What's up, Cook? What's up? Ah! Ah! Palmer, we got the dub. First up in the big blue. Man, I love it. I love it here, Coach.
Next up on the Sean McDermott Show, we break down some next-gen stats in Sportsology. Plus, hear Coach's final thoughts on facing the Jets in an AFC East clash on Sunday.
Sportsology is presented by ECMC. ECMC, official healthcare provider of the Buffalo Bills.
Bills did something in Week 1 that's never happened. Buffalo became the first team in NFL history to win in regulation, down by 15 with under 4 minutes to play. ESPN Analytics gave the Bills less than a 1% chance to beat the Ravens with minutes to go. They forgot Buffalo has the most clutch quarterback. Josh Allen was magic. Let's dive into the jaw-dropping stats from this memorable Week 1 victory. Allen had 3 touchdowns and 251 passing yards in the fourth quarter, the most by Allen in a quarter in his career and the 4th most by a quarterback ever. Buffalo scored a whopping 22 points in the final quarter. A walk-off 32-yard field goal by Matt Prater gave them the win. Allen's 2 rushing touchdowns to bring him to 67 in his career broke a franchise record, passing Hall of Fame running back Thurman Thomas for most rushing touchdowns in Bills history. The MVP finished with 2 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns, making it his 7th career game doing so. That's the most in NFL history. The win gave Allen his 20th career win in the primetime window, tying for the 4th most since 2018. Momentum in that matchup was huge. Defensive tackle Ed Oliver shifted things in Buffalo's favor with an important forced fumble to give Buffalo the ball and a chance to win with 3 to play. The Ravens ended up scoring 30 points and rushed for 238 yards. Teams who had done so in previous matchups are 277-0. Now, that record is 277-1. Remember, don't count Buffalo out of any matchup with Josh Allen at the helm.
After the break, the crew from Buffalo Bills Weekly gives us their game preview for Sunday's matchup with the Jets. Plus, Coach tells us what it will take to get a divisional win on the road in the Meadowlands.
Welcome into Buffalo Bills Weekly. The Bills are taking on the Jets in Week 2. There's a new vibe in New Jersey. The Jets hired former Detroit defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn in January. Since then, there's been a culture transformation. Glenn is setting the right foundation in New Jersey, something the Jets have been looking for years.
Yes, and he reinforced that accountability. There's reports he's going to release his return man who had a fumble in Week 1 against Pittsburgh that essentially cost them the game in the fourth quarter. They had a 2-point lead. He fumbles the ball. Steelers go in and score. They have the lead, and though the Jets came back, they lose on a 60-yard field goal. Accountability is being preached hardcore by Glenn, and there are penalties to pay if you don't live up to it.
The Bills had a game plan for Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson and running back Derrick Henry in Week 1. Not easy. In Week 2, they get a similar skill set, quarterback Justin Fields and running back Breece Hall. Fields is a mobile quarterback who you have to plan for in more ways than one, and Hall is a versatile, powerful running back, 22 touchdowns in the last 3 seasons. How does a similar skill set in Week 1 help you in Week 2?
The skill set helps from the personnel you're preparing for. I think what we have to remember, though, is the Jets essentially run the same scheme that the Lions and Rams run. If you remember last year, the Lions and Rams killed the Bills' defense with that rollout passing game. I expect Justin Fields to be rolling out a ton. They're giving him a lot of freedom to throw the ball, and if nothing's there, he's just going to take off and run because he can. And then Breece Hall, I think, is an underrated threat here because since 2022, backs with more than 20 carries against the Bills, Breece Hall is third in yards per carry average at 6.4 yards per touch.
That's a big number.
The only 2 guys with a higher yards per carry average against the Bills, Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry.
All right, something to account for in this week's game against the Jets. The Jets faced a 2-point loss in Week 1 to the Steelers. You got a new head coach in Aaron Glenn who believes the team has a ton of talent. They don't want to start the season 0-2. Why do the Bills have to be ready for some desperation football?
Yeah, it's desperation. That is exactly what the Jets are going to have when they come into this game. And look, when you're a team like the Bills and you're a team at the top of the AFC, you're going to get everybody's best shot, and they should expect it, especially from this division opponent. Maddy, you and I know the last few games down there have been tight, one-score games. I think this game's going to be uncomfortable for a while because the Jets are going to bring their level best. The Bills have to play mistake-free football and match that intensity.
Is the defense stepping up in Week 2, where Week 1, the offense kind of had to take over entirely?
For more from Brownie and Maddy, including insights from players and coaches, plus exclusive interviews, check your local listings for Buffalo Bills Weekly, also available on Buffalo Bills YouTube. Welcome back to the Sean McDermott Show. Coach, it's your first divisional game of the year. You're going into the Meadowlands. You go there every year. They lost a close contest to the Steelers in Week 1. You saw that. They seem to be a little bit more energetic offensively than they were a year ago. How do you bottle the momentum from your game this past Sunday and transition into a road game in a division team that knows you really well?
Yeah, no, they do, and we know at least some of their personnel. A competitive game, and maybe even should have won that game. So the NFL is a week-to-week league, and so we have to continue to focus on us and making sure we're growing. So it's all exciting. It's part of coaching. It's part of the journey of a season, and making sure we stay humble and handle the success moments the right way, and get ourselves ready to go for the next challenge.
Well, the Jets have now Justin Fields. You played against him when he was a young player in Chicago. He's a dual-threat guy, a little bit like Lamar was. I mean, nobody's like Lamar, but he's a good player. 2 rushing touchdowns last week. He threw for a touchdown. How does your Week 1 game against Lamar prepare you for an athlete like Justin Fields at quarterback, and maybe what could be as much as an overall challenge to your entire team as the Ravens were?
Yeah, no, they're a challenge. You know, the Jets have a talented roster, and they've been at a spot where they've picked high, and so we'll have to contend with that, and then contend with some of the new schemes and the athleticism of the quarterback as well. And again, they scored a lot of points in Week 1 against a really good defense, and so we'll have our work cut out for us.
All right, Coach, I'll tell you what, we're going to give you next week off after the Jets game. We're going to come back in 2 weeks. For all of you at home, thanks for joining us on the Sean McDermott Show presented by Kaleida Health. We'll see you next time, and as always, go Bills.
Final Thoughts is presented by Toyota. Toyota is the official car and truck of the Buffalo Bills. The Sean McDermott Show is presented by Kaleida Health, the official healthcare system of the Buffalo Bills. By Connors and Ferris, your workers' comp attorneys. Call 684-COMP today. And by Toyota. Toyota is the official car and truck of the Buffalo Bills.